December has arrived,
Hooray!
and we're nearly halfway through already.
Hooray!
Well, that means that Christmas is still some time away.
Boo!
So in this video I thought I'd look forward to what many consider to be the most magical time of the year, December, or specifically Christmas. Christmas is around the corner.
Hooray!
Okay, that yay and boo thing is getting old now. So I wanted to take a closer look at what makes this time of year so magical, and if we can work that out, perhaps we can figure out a way to add magic to the rest of the year too. In the Northern Hemisphere, where around 90% of people on Earth live, believe it or not, which is a statistic that blew my mind, it gets darker during the latter part of the year, and December the 21st, or the winter solstice, is the darkest day of the whole year. That's obviously reversed in the Southern Hemisphere. So, for around 90% of humans on Earth, December is pretty dark, or at least compared to the rest of the year. How could a dark month be the most magical month? And is there a link? Well, it turns out, actually, yes, there is. You see, the word occult, which is often associated with magic, comes from a similar origin as the word occlusion, which means to hide. Perhaps the magic comes from finding the allure in the darkness, but I think it's more than that. In 2010, rather coincidentally on Christmas Day, the Doctor Who Christmas special, A Christmas Carol, featured music by Murray Gold, titled Halfway Out of the Dark. I think this is the point. It starts with the beautiful line, "On every world, wherever people are, in the deepest part of the winter, at the exact midpoint, everybody stops and turns and hugs, as if to say, well done. Well done, everyone. We are halfway out of the dark." Halfway out of the dark is such a great concept. It's like Wednesday in the week, the middle of the week. Some people call it Hump Day because it's the hump or the hill of the week, and Wednesday then marks the midpoint, so it's all downhill from there. Christmas magic is surely more than just the relief that we're halfway out of the dark, though, isn't it? We all feel better at Christmas, don't we? We all feel happier, more nostalgic, more romantic. There's the notion of the Christmas miracle. There's Christmas presents, obviously, but surely there's more than just reaching the middle, isn't it? Twinkling lights and old movies are great, but what drives us to use these things in the first place? Well, precisely the fact that they tend to be relegated to that specific time of the year. You see, as much as people in December entreat us all to keep the Christmas alive throughout the year, Christmas music seems utterly out of place in July, for example. In December we hear old classics that have probably been around since before you were born. The same old songs that we listened to when we were kids. That builds that nostalgia. And old codgers like me have similar feelings about Britney Spears or the Backstreet Boys or Nirvana or Pearl Jam, the Dookie album by Green Day or The Offspring's Smash. It's obviously not played as much anymore, but it's still great. The only difference is that the life of the Christmas song is much longer, simply because you can't play it whenever you want. It's limited, it's forbidden. Maybe it's even a bit naughty. Whoa, that's not what I meant. But you still want to play even the old songs because they're related to Christmas. Some people say it's bad luck, even, to play Christmas music outside of December. Now, clearly that's nonsense, but that is what people say. If you want to play Wizard's classic I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day, you either wait for December or face ridicule for being too early or too late. Which is ironic, isn't it? You wish it could be Christmas every day, but it's precisely the fact that it isn't Christmas every day that makes Christmas special. But in December, it's fair game. All bets are off. Nobody will stop you from playing that music. Bring it on! Don a mince pie hat and a flashing jumper, or a mince pie jumper, and let's all dance around the Christmas tree to that awesome Christmas tune. But let's not forget, that song was released in 1973. How many other songs from 1973 would you normally hear nowadays, especially on the radio? In the same year, 1973, Merry Christmas Everybody by Slade got to number 1, while Wizard reached number 4. Now, I bet you can remember probably both songs, certainly in the English-speaking world, but what about the other chart toppers? I Love You, You Love Me by renowned paedophile Gary Glitter reached number 2. And number 3 was You Won't Find Another Fool Like Me by the New Seekers featuring Paul Lynn. Have you heard of any of these before? Probably not, because I haven't. Aside from the Christmas songs, I bet you don't play the other songs. And not just because Gary Glitter's conviction kind of makes it a bit icky. It's because they really haven't aged very well. It's because Christmas allows old, twee, slightly naff stuff to keep its currency. We dust off the plastic Christmas tree and scraggy tinsel year after year, and we don't mind because it reminds us of a happy time. What makes Christmas happy in the first place then? Is it Santa, that fat old bloke who eats all of our cookies? Is it the snow and the silencing blanket of peace that descends when the world is quilted in white? Well, I think it's simpler than that. Is it the presents? No. People have time off around Christmas time. They're told to be kind to one another. And yes, they do buy gifts and they dose themselves up with endorphins from food and drink and games and movies and presents and loved ones being around them pretty much all the time. You can arrange to see your friends because they've got some time off too from work, for a change. People are more likely to laugh and smile a little easier, unless of course they're fighting over turkeys in the supermarket. At Christmas time though, the mixture of nostalgia, time off, endorphins from food and booze, and the anticipation of parties, good company and presents makes a pretty potent mix. Those prone to such things will literally become addicted to the Christmassy time and the Christmassy music. Throw in some silliness in the form of a Christmas jumper and some fancy decorations, happy music and being surrounded by other happy people, and you'd have to be a special kind of humbug not to get swept up in the spirit of the season.
Harry? No! What are you doing here?
Now, if you're still with me at this point in the video, you're probably wondering about the magic of Christmas, so stay with me just a little bit longer, because this is where things get a little bit weird. Ingo Swann was an American remote viewer known for his involvement in parapsychology. He co-developed the technique of remote viewing, which involves describing or drawing details about a distant or unseen target. If you're into paranormal topics, Ingo Swann's work is quite fascinating, and I'm going to be doing some more stuff on that a bit later on this channel. Ingo Swann worked for the Stanford Research Institute, or SRI, during the 1970s on the remote viewing program, which was funded by various US government agencies, including the CIA and the Defense Intelligence Agency. It was a unique and unconventional project exploring the potential of extrasensory perception, and it was a project that the US government took very seriously indeed. In his book, Penetration, I know, Ingo Swann talked about aliens on the moon, government cover-ups, psychic attack, telepathy, and something that he described as phase locking. Now, phase locking involves synchronizing the viewer's consciousness with the target, allowing them to access information about distant or unseen locations. It's a term he used to describe the process of establishing a mental connection with the target during remote viewing sessions. Ingo Swann believed that achieving this phase locking was crucial for accurate and detailed remote viewing experiences. He also said that when people are divided or conflicted, the signals can achieve poor phase lock on various different versions of a collective reality. He went so far as to say that when the human race are divided, they do not act in a way conducive to telepathy. So what's that got to do with Christmas? Stay with me for a second. On the other hand, when people are united, he said that the telepathic field allows people to connect and share their experiences more easily. There will therefore be more compassion, more love, more consideration, more happiness, and in short, everything that makes Christmas so Christmassy, so magical. Perhaps the most important lesson to get from looking at Christmas time as a magical time of the year is to analyse why the rest of the year isn't as magical. Working long hours, divisive topics on TV, the media and online, the geopolitics of the earth constantly pulling us in this way or in that way, political left and political right, gender politics, racism, religion and bigotry. If you take all of that out and spend time with those that you love, if everyone did that regularly, perhaps we'd be more unified, more telepathic and more magical. And if we can keep every day as if it were Christmas, maybe, just maybe, the world would be a better place. If you'd like to find out why Christmas trees are pagan, check out this video and I'll see you next time with some more magical awesomeness. But until next time, as always,
Stay magical.